Hi there, welcome back to the study for our final Dave's Desk of this week. I wonder how you feel about perfume. I have to say, I am not a big fan of perfume. My wife's asthmatic and is not really a big fan of perfume, tends to set off her asthma. For me, I'm happy to have a pleasant smelling garden, but that's about it. Prefer my smells, my odours natural. But in the Bible, perfumes play a really significant role, both in Old Testament worship and temple worship, part of the gifts that are given to Jesus as a baby. And there are at least 3 instances in the Gospels where Jesus is anointed with perfume, twice on the feet and once on the head. And each of these encounters, they're all women who are anointing him, and they're all doing so in an act of worship, shedding perfume on him as a way of blessing him and recognizing who he is. And the perfume at this point is just an immensely expensive commodity. It's something of great value. Generally, when Jesus is anointed, the valuable bottle in which the perfume has been held is broken, and this idea, the imagery is of a complete giving over, a complete devotion of something of great value, sacrificed to who Jesus is, reflecting the value that Jesus has for the person anointing him. And the account that really stands out for me is the one in Luke 7, where Jesus has gone to a Pharisee's house, and it's relatively early on in Jesus' teaching ministry, and it seems the Pharisee doesn't really value Jesus. He's invited him into his house because he wants to assess him, he wants to test out who Jesus is and what he's like, and so he's not particularly developed in his welcome. He gives Jesus food and he puts him to the test, but he doesn't do those normal niceties. And at some point during the meal, a woman comes in who is a notorious sinner. We don't know what that means, whether she's moral failings herself, or perhaps the victim of a fairly misogynistic male-orientated culture that means that she's living in such a way that is frowned upon, but where she is trapped. But what we do know is that she comes to this meal, that everyone knows who she is, and everyone judges Jesus for allowing her to touch him. Indeed, the way it's described in Luke, when the Pharisees who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. And she's come in and started worshipping Jesus. And all the Pharisee can see is that she's the wrong sort of woman. But Jesus' response is important. He asks him a question about who would appreciate having a debt forgiven more, the person who owed a little or the person who owed a lot. And Simon replies, I suppose the one who had the bigger debt forgiven. And Jesus says, you judge correctly. Then he turned towards the woman and said to Simon, do you see this woman? I came into your house, you did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman from the time I entered has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. But whoever has been forgiven little, loves little. And we've just been playing out in the garden over the last few days, and the boys have been wearing sandals, and they come in, their feet are black with mud, and it takes a good bath to clean them. And the Jewish culture is one where you wear sandals. Feet were filthy when you came into the house, so when people came to your house you offered them water to clean their feet, rub the dust out from between their toes to make them feel more comfortable. And Simon hasn't offered that to Jesus, but the woman has been weeping on his feet. It was normal, I guess perhaps more like French culture, where someone came into your house, you'd welcome them with a kiss on the cheek. or on the lips, and this woman has been kissing his muddy feet that she's been crying all over. Right, picturing my children's feet. I'm not sure I'd want to kiss my children's muddy feet when they came in from the garden. And then you might anoint someone's head with oil as they came into the house if you really want to show them your blessing. But this woman has poured her perfume. She's not deemed herself worthy to go near Jesus' head to pour it there, so she's poured it on his feet. She's humbled herself and elevated Jesus, and the Pharisees don't really think that Jesus is worthy of this honour. And I was just reflecting on the woman's wholehearted devotion to Jesus, her willingness to put up with the scorn of the people sat around the table to show Jesus how much she loves him, how much she values the forgiveness she's received in his name. And I thought, I wonder how many of us are so willing to suffer the scorn of the proud in order to worship Jesus with such open and raw emotion. How many of us are capable of behaving that way? I don't think that I find that sort of expression of worship very easy. Maybe you find it easy to go to that place, but I know I don't. And I just wanted to sort of learn from her and to be influenced by her, both by her love for Jesus and her willingness to show that love whatever else was going on in the world around. And I hope we can all be people who love Jesus so openly. Thank you for joining us. I hope that's been of some encouragement to you. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Goodbye.